Good evening, everyone. I'd like to thank the grace of heaven, virtues of masters, compassion of our grand predecessors, or transmitters, and everyone for giving me this opportunity to share today's class on 4 subjects for Tao cultivation. Holy Teacher says, the most important aspect of a cultivator is having a moral character. Then we must nurture virtues, perform merits, and establish an aspirational goal. When we have sufficient forbearance, our nature shines brightly. The 4 subjects of Tao cultivation are like the 4 legs of a table or the foundation of a building. If we do not have a solid foundation built on these 4 subjects, then we cannot be successful in cultivation. Cultivation is the most important requirement for us to be able to return to absolute heaven. We all have faults. No one in this world is perfect. Otherwise, we wouldn't be caught in the cycle of reincarnation. By cultivating, we will be able to change ourselves for the better, to follow the ways of the saints and Buddhas. After all, they too were humans just like us. But because they cultivated themselves to perfection, they are now saints and Buddhas, worshipped by millions of people all over the world. Our holy teacher categorized Tao cultivation into 4 subjects: moral character, virtues and merits, forbearance or tolerance and patience, propriety, etiquette, and courtesy. So we're going to start with moral character. The purpose of cultivation is to bring out or manifest the Tao that is within each, which is internal, and spread the Tao to others, which is external. We must put in endless effort to cultivate and build up our moral character. It takes time to cultivate a virtuous character, but the more virtuous we are, the more respect we have. Holy Teacher says, there are 2 requirements we need before we achieve virtues: frugality and a true heart. What kind of behavior should we have in order to be virtuous? We need to do good deeds to accumulate virtues. Turn the knowledge of good in our mind into action in order to acquire virtues. Then we will really be true, kind, and beautiful. Holy Teacher says we must be frugal, not buy things that we don't need. We only buy what we need. Don't spend our money on unnecessary things. Frugality also applies to our usage of water. We shouldn't waste water. We may have easy access to it now, but if we use up all the water now, there may not be much left for the next generations. Take, for example, California. They have had drought for many, many years. If we visit that state, their lawn are all yellow and look burnt. But because they have restrictions on the usage of water, they can't waste it to water the lawn. We turn on the faucet when we do need to use the water, but we do not need to turn it to full blast, just enough to wash our hands. Water should not be running unless our hands are below it. Sometimes when we are washing and our phone rings or the doorbell rings, we immediately run to get the phone or answer the door and left the water running. It'll be so wasteful. Even the use of paper towels. Holy Teacher says we are wasting too much paper towels. We should make use of each sheet of paper towel for 3 different uses before we throw it away. For example, we first use it to wipe our hands. Then we reuse that same paper towel to clean our furniture. Then we reuse that same paper towel to wipe the floor before we dispose it. We may think, oh, paper towel is so cheap. Why do we need to do that? Being frugal is to conserve not only our money, but also natural resources. Paper towels are made from trees. Think of all the trees we can save if we use less paper towels. Once we get into the habit of being frugal, we will not be wasteful with anything. There's also food waste. we buy loads of groceries, put them in the refrigerator, and didn't get a chance to cook it. It rots, and we have to throw it out. Many people cook a large amount, can't finish the food, and throws it out because they refuse to eat leftovers. Buddha says, when we throw out food, it will accumulate in the underworld, waiting for us to go down and eat it all out. Even if it'll take us 40 to 60 years before we pass away, do you want to eat it now when it's fresh or when it's rotted and moldy and stinky? Think about that. Look at all the people in the world that do not have enough food to feed their family. Some children go to bed and go to school hungry. If we can conserve and only cook what we need for the meal, with that extra money left from groceries, we can use it to donate to the poor. Not only is that a good deed, manifesting our compassion, it will make the poor families very happy to be able to feed their children. There are so many different ways to be frugal. Use our Buddha nature to guide us. B, being a cultivator, we must first need to cultivate ourselves to reach perfection. The first thing in cultivating and building up virtues is to rectify ourselves. What are virtues? Virtues are built up by giving extensively and helping the masses. Only when we are merciful and joyful in giving can we have virtues. Therefore, after receiving Tao, we should nourish virtues, cultivate our moral character, rectify ourselves, and help others to do the same. In this way, we are able to truly build up virtues and accumulate merits. Virtues are high moral excellence. It's through our words, our actions, and our conducts that other people would see and conclude that this person is one with high virtue. We can manifest our virtues by giving and helping others with a sincere heart and mind. Holy Teacher says we must get rid of 3 poisons. One is temper. Everyone in this world has temper. We all do. What is important is to be able to control ourselves before we allow this temper to flare up and lash at others. In cultivating ourselves, we must get rid of our temper before we can return to absolute heaven. All Buddhas don't have a temper. No one is allowed to have a temper in heaven. Therefore, we must get rid of our temper in order to go back. Temper is one of the most difficult poisons to get rid of. Be cautious. Once we think we have gotten rid of our temper, heaven will test us by giving us a situation in our life that will enrage us. So be careful. We will always be tested by heaven. The second poison is greed. I'm not sure every one of us have had it. I'm sure every one of us had a certain degree of greed in our life. Greed is having a strong desire for material goods. It could be in the form of money, cars, houses, even food and drinks. For example, if we eat and we know we are full, and we still continue to eat because the food tastes delicious, that's considered greed, to want more than what we need. Another example would be the rich people. They already have millions, and yet they want to make more millions. Or one car and house, and that is not enough. They want several cars and several vacation homes in many different states. For us ladies, our constant buying of clothes and products to make ourselves look good. Although some men do that too. So this could also mean that when we allow greed to control us, we would do anything to get what we want, to step over people, hurting others without realizing, just so that we get exactly what we want. That is not cultivating. That is causing harm and bad karma for other people. And we will have to pay back in the next life. Many of us like to haggle. What is haggle? Haggle is trying to bargain with the seller so they can reduce the price and we don't have to pay so much. So that's another form of greed. To haggle, okay, means we have to have what we want. Unless they give us the price that we are happy with, we are not going to walk away. So this is haggling. This means we eventually will not stop until we get the price. And this is not going to benefit the other person. It will benefit us, okay? Because this is an act of greed. It benefits us, but it will harm the other person. So when we think about it, we may gain on the sale, but the store owner will lose out. Isn't there a karma there? Maybe the store owner has a family to feed. Maybe his or her store is really not making enough profits to feed his family. So Holy Teacher says we cannot and should not haggle. Therefore, the next time we have this urge to bargain the price down, be very careful. We may benefit, but we may also hurt someone in the long run. Another example that we never think of is taxes. We all just filed our income tax returns, right? Holy Teacher says we cannot try to find every loophole that there is in order to avoid paying income taxes. Everything earned must be reported, even if we earn cash. Just because it is cash does not give us the right not to report it. It's still our income. Those that help others to find loopholes, such as accountants, will also be at fault because they are actually helping others to avoid paying income taxes. Therefore, for all accountants out there, be very careful what we say and advise others because we will be responsible for their actions. Not to report and pay income taxes for all income is considered a fraud. There is no statute of limitations on fraud, and it is punishable by law. This is a form of greed, to cheat the government in order for us to gain more money in our hands. Remember, God is watching us at all times. Heaven will know, and we will be punished when we return. Every action we make in life must be made with wisdom and with our Buddha nature. If we go against our Buddha nature, then that is definitely not the Tao and not the right path to follow. Then third poison is ignorance or stubbornness. Being ignorant or stubborn means we do not yield to others. What we think and what we want is it. Don't want to bend under any circumstances for anybody. That is stubbornness. Someone that is difficult to handle. What I say and want is it. I don't care what you want, only what I want. Refusing to yield or bend for others, not letting go of the ego. We must get rid of our stubbornness, be flexible in all circumstances. This will cause less conflict with others. Be a person that can bend for others and don't expect others to bend for us. It's not really a big deal to give in, so we don't get what we wanted. It's okay. Others will always respect those that are flexible and give in to others. Don't always think that our idea is the best and what we want and think is the best. Other people also think the same. If we can get rid of our ignorance and stubbornness, there will be more peace and harmony instead of conflicts and endless arguments. C, examine ourselves in everything we do. Give more consideration to others than to ourselves. This is called maturity. When talking with others, do not be judgmental or talk behind other people's back. There is no greater disaster than being greedy, no greater sin than talking about others' right and wrong deeds. Holy Teacher says, when we are judgmental and talk behind other people's back, there will be other people who will also talk behind our backs. What goes around comes around. We all must consider others first before ourselves. Everyone has faults, and we should not focus on their bad points, but to see their good qualities. There's no reason for us to talk behind their backs, and most of the times, words and information gets twisted, and the whole situation gets blown out of perspective. The truth is no longer the truth, and the person we talk about will become very hateful and horrible person in everyone's eye, all due to our gossip. We will be degrading that person's character. Who's at fault? The ones that did the talking and bad mouthing. Does it make us feel good in committing such a bad sin? Did we benefit from it? Is it worth it to demoralize someone's character? Then why do we do it? Think about this before we start to gossip again. D, learn to be a Buddha. It requires tenacity to learn. Cultivate and nourish to have the nature of tenacity, to repeat and reform yourself inside and out, to get rid of bad habits and temper. The more we try to get, the less we will obtain. As a philosophy of life, learn and practice tenacity well in conducting your life. Then you will be successful in everything. Cultivation is not easy, and everyone needs strength, courage, and determination to change ourselves for the better. However, we take it step by step instead of looking at it as a whole process. It would make it much easier for us. If we can all use our Buddha nature to guide us in our everyday cultivation, it would be more natural and less of a burden. We all need to repent and reform ourselves inside and out. Self-reflect every single day to see where and what we did wrong and to recognize our faults so we can correct ourselves and never to repeat the same mistake again. Just like Yan Hui, one of Confucius' disciples, who never repeat the same mistake twice. If we do not self-reflect every day, what we did wrong will never be acknowledged and it will be repeated again and again, and we would never even be aware of it. Therefore, it's very important to self-reflect on a daily basis to get rid of our bad temper and bad habits. E, get rid of bad habits immediately. Do not leave it until tomorrow. When we notice that we are acquiring bad habits or we already have bad habits, we shall discard them right away. Do not always think that we will do it tomorrow. Maybe in the next minute, we will not breathe anymore. Life is unexpected. We never know when we will leave this world. And to leave before we have a chance to get rid of our bad habits will be unfortunate. Cultivation in this physical realm is much easier than in heaven because we have this physical body to change our ways. In heaven, we no longer have our physical form. Therefore, start cultivating as soon as we can and don't put it off to tomorrow. Every day there's a tomorrow, but we don't know how many tomorrows we have left. So put our efforts into it right away and we'll never regret in doing so. F, each wrong motive or thought is already a fault. If we carry it into action, it then becomes a second fault. Then we have committed two faults. Holy Teacher always says that our heart and mind is the most important part of cultivation. Whatever is in our heart and mind, okay, whatever is in our thoughts will follow with a action, which will become our habit, which will become our character, and will determine our destiny. We must constantly be aware of our thoughts. As soon as there was a negative thought, immediately turn it into a positive. Never carry negative thought into action. Be aware will lessen our chances of committing sins and earning demerits and also causing karma. Holy Teacher says, no killing of any kind. That includes eating meat and the use of insecticides for insects. No stealing. If it doesn't belong to us, we don't take it. No sexual misconduct. No false speech, slander, coarse language, okay, such as cursing, empty talk, greed, anger, ignorance, the 3 poisons, desires, no drinking, that means alcohol, no indulgence, no lust, and no gossiping. G, indulging yourself means hurting yourself. If we pamper ourselves with all the desires for a life of comfort and luxury, then after we leave this physical realm, we will suffer. On the other hand, if we endure many sufferings, difficulties, and hardships in life for the benefit of sentient beings, then we will enjoy a blissful life in heaven. What we can give to others, do it in this life, or we will not be able to give once we leave this world. For example, instead of buying unnecessary things or go on endless vacation trips around the world, we can use some of that money to give to those that are in need. There are many legitimate websites that we can donate to. Or there's always the cancer centers such as St. Jude to donate to help little children that have to go through cancer. The reason we are so blessed and fortunate in this life is because we had cultivated in our past life. But if we keep indulging ourselves in this life, we may not be so fortunate in our next life. What we do for others is a merit for ourselves, and we will feel good about ourselves for giving and helping others instead of splurging it on ourselves. Okay, number 2, the second subject is virtues and merits. Holy Teacher says, do we understand that we are saving invisible money now? We have opened an account in heaven. After opening this account, we should deposit invisible money into it. How do we save this invisible money? By accumulating merits and virtues. We don't have to be in the temple to accumulate merits and virtues. If we genuinely praise someone, provide expediency to somebody, or do someone a little favor, all of these can accumulate merits and virtues today. In our daily life, we can put Tao into practice anytime, anywhere. When we all first received the Tao, if we can recall, we were all asked for a merit fee. That merit fee has been registered in heaven along with our name. That was opening an account in heaven. Now that we have opened an account in heaven, we should all start depositing invisible money into this account by accumulating merits and virtues. Everything good we do in our daily life is considered as merits, okay, and virtues. Just a smile to someone, calling someone who is in a depressed state by giving them emotional support or giving up our seat, whether it's in the subway or in the bus, and helping an old lady or handicapped person cross the street. These are all considered merits. These are easy and kind good deeds we can do anywhere, okay? So B, if we have no complaints and guilt in our heart, we are accumulating merits and virtues. Without complaints, without guilt, we are free from regrets. That's having merits and virtues. But if we only care about how many merits and virtues we have and become obstinate in counting them and getting more, then we won't have any. Then we have a motive in doing this. We have to do it without motive. If we have a thought in our mind that I have to help this person so I can earn some merits, then that will not be a merit, even if you help that person. We must do it naturally because the Tao is natural. Don't count all the things we did to see how much merit we have earned. Just do everything from the kindness of our heart and mind and let go. That's what we are supposed to do, to help others. Then earning merits will be natural. We don't need to keep a record. Heaven is doing that. We don't even think about that at all. C, when cultivating Tao, Do not pay attention to how much we've given to other people or how many merits and virtues we've accumulated. We have to get rid of that kind of thinking so that we can have real merits and virtues. As Holy Teacher says, if we donate some money to the temple and keep thinking about the donation, on this day, I gave $100 to the temple. In the future, that $100 will be returned to us. However, if we could sincerely and let it go, never have another thought about it, that donation is unlimited. It will come back to us in ways that is worth much more than what we gave. We will be blessed in this life, or we may see it when we return to God. That's when everything will be weighed. Therefore, we don't need to count our merits and virtues. Just do it without ever thinking about it again. D, letting people feel hopeful anytime and anywhere. That's accumulating merits and virtues. Accumulating merits is not necessarily how much we have done in the temple. It is giving people hope all the time. Having hope in life is so important. Without hope, we will always feel depressed, and depression can kill. That's why so many people have committed suicide, especially today. Bullying and mental illness are on the rise. They lost hope in life. We all have ups and downs in life. Whenever we know that someone is going through rough times, give them love and kindness. Let them know that there are so many people that love and care about them. Give them positive words and hope so they can turn their life around. Not everyone has a family to love, nor close friends to be around. Most of these people are living alone or cooped up in their homes. That's why alcohol consumptions increase, especially during the pandemic, and loneliness take over their lives. We should all reconnect with all our friends by calling them and talking to each other. Let them know that we care and we will always be there for them in times of need. At least they will know that they can always turn to us for help. Loneliness can kill. And if we can make a big difference in someone's life, why not give them love and kindness to help them? We will also feel good about ourselves because we gave someone hope. E, the true meaning of giving does not just lie in donating money, but in whether we have a sincere and honest heart when we are giving. It does not depend on how much money we've donated, but on whether or not we have a sincere and true heart. F, when we are giving, it's just like we are handing a flower from our left hand to our right hand. No matter where the flower goes, it's still in our own hand. The more we give to other people, the broader our heart will be. This is the true meaning of giving. G, giving and donating are not limited to money. No matter what kind of giving we do or how much we give, as long as we have a heart, that kind of giving is the best. H, offer our kind heart, face, words, and physical body. These are the 4 types of donation. To give our heart means keeping our heart pure, righteous, without pollution or evil thoughts, is also a giving. As long as our heart is righteous and pure, we won't have any mental garbage in our mind. That's also a kind of internal merit and virtue. Donation with our face means always have a smiling face. It will bring happiness not only to the people around you, but also to ourselves. Giving of our words means using encouraging words in place of scolding words. Speak encouraging words to other people instead of criticizing them. Everyone needs encouragement, no one needs criticizing. Even if someone made a mistake, we should not criticize them. Instead, we should use encouraging words to make them feel better for their mistakes. We all make mistakes. We're all humans. No one is perfect. And therefore, we should not criticize nor yell at others for their mistakes. What if that person never comes back to the temple because we criticize them? Then we will be causing a bad karma. and we will be responsible for them not coming back to the temple. Donation of physical body means to set a good example of our own conduct. By doing this, we help others to follow our example naturally. Then seeing others in trouble or difficulty, offer our helping hand to them. It will become a chain reaction for those we help, and they also will help others that are in need. Okay, the third subject is forbearance, which means tolerance and patience. Holy Teacher says, do not be affected by the outside environment, no matter how big or small the influence is. We will learn something when we are not rushed or become impatient in our daily life. If our heart can endure tribulation and confinement, with perseverance, we can overcome any hardship. During the process of cultivation, it doesn't mean if the ordeal is large or small. The tests are many or few. First, we must be calm and stable, then ponder and contemplate carefully before breaking it down and solving it. So whenever we are faced with hardships and difficulties in life, whether it is a big or small problem, always have patience, remain calm and composed. If we can all do that, we can deal with any problem much better with a clear and composed heart and mind. B, hope my disciples are able to build good affinities with people and improve relationships with others. Turn bad into good. When things are unfair, be patient. Endure the storms and turbulent oceans. Winds will cease and waves will calm down. Remember this, endure and we will be successful and achieve what is destined to be ours. Otherwise, everything will be gone with the winds. Before we get into arguments or conflict with others, tolerate and be patient with all those around us. These are our great virtues to practice. If we immediately blow up and get angry, not only will we cause bad karma, but we will also lose all the merits we have accumulated. Think about this before we blow up next time. It's not worth it. I always say to myself, it doesn't matter how people treat us. What is more important is how we treat other people. As long as we are doing everything properly, heaven will be by our side. When others treat us bad, we can learn from it and never treat others that way, even to the ones that treated us bad. Then that will become a revenge. C, examine ourselves carefully. Hold a self-examination of our heart and inspect the cause of our shortcomings, whether we are in prosperity or adversity. Are we irritable? Are we impatient? Can we bear hardship? Can we resist temptation? Can we take rejection? Can we stand pressure? When we are determined to change our bad qualities, we should be firm like mountains, be virtuous like water, have a great heart like saint and sage, be pure and tranquil like the moon, warm like the spring sun, and be as affectionate as the tender wind. So are we irritable? Being irritable means we have a very short temper. Little things will irritate and annoy us. Are we impatient? Patience is a virtue. Many of us get impatient with other people and get so annoyed. If we have to wait for them to or stand online to wait for our turn, we get so annoyed. So we have to have patience. Can we bear hardship? Life has so many ups and downs. Things will never always go smoothly. And when we are faced with hardships and difficulties in life, it is only temporary and we can bear the hardships. It will only make us stronger and a better person. Can we resist temptation? It could be temptation of shopping. We buy only what we need. It could be temptations of money. If we find extra cash somewhere, will we take it for our own use? Remember the word stealing. Do not take whatever that does not belong to us. It could be temptation of lust. If we see a beautiful female or a handsome male, can we walk away? we will be tested, especially those that are married. We must be faithful to our spouse, no matter how strong that temptation is. There should not be extramarital affairs once we get married. Couples marry each other are all due to past life affinity. If this affinity is not fulfilled, then the next life they will come back together and get married again to finish that affinity. Therefore, we must all resist temptations, no matter how strong that temptation is. Can we take rejection? There will be many rejections in life. Even little children get rejected if they do not get what they want. And that is why our holy teacher says children should not get spoiled and should never give them what they want in life. They will get rejections and they must know how to handle rejections. So don't spoil a child. We will get rejections in schools we apply to, in job interviews, in promotions that we were hoping to get, and also in our personal life. Therefore, handle it calmly and take it as it comes. Can we stand pressure? Stress is all part of life. There is no one in this world that does not have stress. Stress comes in all forms: personal life stress, work stress, even social stress. We all must learn to deal with stress lightly. Stress can affect our health immensely. Stress cannot be avoided. It is all part of life. We all have to learn how to deal with it in a healthy way so we do not get sick from it. Remain calm and composed so we can deal with it in a peaceful manner. The more we get upset, the harder to overcome it. We must learn to be like water. Water is very virtuous. A virtuous person is just like water. A virtuous person remains silent and solitary. Just as water nourishes all things, a virtuous person expects nothing in return for a deed well done. Whatever a virtuous person says or does, it's always honest and true, like the true reflection of an object in the water. Because its weak nature, water can take any shape depending on which container it is put in. If a person can adopt this characteristic of water, he can benefit all things and see spontaneous results, thereby coming close to Tao. Being soft, it doesn't fight against the odds, but let things take their natural course. Water flows into low places. A virtuous person willingly adopts a humble attitude. Water has wonderful characteristics, and we should all take on the characteristics of water so we can all be as virtuous as water. D. Taste the bitterness of the bitter to be the best of the best. Why do people not like bitterness? Those who refuse bitterness will lack good fortunes. Sweetness begins only at the end of bitterness. Be enduring. With endurance, we will become a bodhisattva. It is easy to be a bodhisattva. Just perform our human roles. Because humans are so willful, humans always care only about themselves and do not care about others. All have their own shortcomings and temperaments. When things do not go the way they wish, rages flare up too easily. The greater the rage, the more damage to the liver. When the liver is damaged, other illnesses will follow. You must be aware of this. In other words, we have to go through the bad in order to get the good. We must tolerate and endure. Just take the bad as it comes. Be patient, and eventually things will turn around for the good. Don't just get into a state of rage. That will never solve any issues. It will just affect our health. Remain calm and deal with all problems patiently. E. Fulfill the heavenly way in adversity. When we face unwished for and tough situations, we need to remember we are a practitioner of Tao. We have to fight and break through these adversities and difficult situations. Don't allow ourselves to go with the flow and drift with the currents. Hang on and tread through these hardships, even if they are really painful for us. Endure what others can't endure, and we will certainly achieve accomplishment. If we retreat when we encounter difficulties, we won't reach the summit of life. As adult cultivators, we must face and deal with all hardships, no matter how tough they are. We can't just ignore and run away from it. Deal and tolerate it with perseverance, and it will make us a stronger person. F. When people scold us, we are not angry. When they show us unpleasant faces, we treat them as usual. Then we have attained the level of maturity. However, if we are making mistakes, we must be able to read people's expressions so we can act properly. To act properly means we have reached a certain level of maturity too. So when other people yell at us or give us nasty looks, we must not get upset. We just act normal and never get angry at them for yelling at us. G. What is the real meaning of being strong? It means being able to conquer the foes. Example, the 3 poisons: greed, anger, and ignorance in one's own mind. To be meek and humble, do what others can't do, endure what other people cannot endure. Then our cultivation and practice of Tao will improve. H. In Tao learning, be even-tempered, peaceful, and composed. This can be practiced by cultivating our mind and true nature. Rectify our mind, eliminate bad temper and bad habits, and nurture the true nature. Strengthen our confidence among people and in doing things, no matter what trials and setbacks we encounter. Do not complain or argue. When there is an argument, it will become a matter of right or wrong. When people are arguing who's right and who's wrong, they go to extremes. Then the principles of the golden mean are not followed. So the Confucius principle of the golden mean is, do not do unto others what you would not want others to do unto you. In other words, treat others the way we want to be treated. Always keep that in mind. The fourth subject is propriety, which includes etiquette and courtesy. Holy Teacher says, when we kneel down and bow, we are showing respect to the genuine denominator, our own soul, our own life. The Chinese character Ming means life. Ren Yi Kou. When you break down the word Ming, it's 3 different parts. Ren Yi Kou, which means a person makes one bow. When we're kowtowing, we are telling ourselves that we have to self-reflect. If we're too proud and arrogant, how can we perform introspection? If we are proud and always think that we are right, then there is no sense to do self-introspection. Life is, in essence, a man bowing, paying respect to the Tao or our own Buddha nature. B. Everybody has one's innate true nature, self-Buddha nature in one's heart. Therefore, when facing Buddhas, it's just like we're looking back at our own Buddha nature. When we make bows to Buddha, it is the same as humbly facing ourselves and doing self-reflection. When bowing with the hand seal, it's like we're setting an example to practice Tao in the secular world. We know how to be humble and modest. C. Bend our waist lower, as if we don't want to knock our head on the brim of a low door. Then step with our left foot forward, as if we are taking care of business. We cannot rush things or be abrupt and impetuous. It is like following Confucius' teaching of the golden mean. If we just put things into practice without thinking and planning, it certainly doesn't meet the principle of the golden mean. However, if we keep thinking and planning without action, we won't make our dream come true either. So when we're interacting with people and doing business in this world, we should do it step by step and make our foundation firm. D. So when we kowtow to Buddhas, it's time to do our best self-reflection. As Zhenzi, a disciple of Confucius, said, I do self-reflections in 3 ways every day. In doing things for others, have I been disloyal? In my interactions with friends, have I been untrustworthy? Have I not practiced what I have learned? This is the 3 questions we should ask ourselves every day also. E, practice self-reflection in 3 ways daily. Then we can become a saint. On the journey of learning and cultivating Tao, we should learn how to adjust and calm our mind and make it peaceful. Learn to change the environment by changing the way we perceive things. Don't let our mind be affected and controlled by the circumstances. We must all be broad-minded, and when we deal with other people. Being broad-minded will allow us to perceive everything in all different aspects instead of being so narrow-minded that we allow ourselves to become very firm and restricted to our own views only and never accepting others' point of view. So therefore, this kowtow propriety will teach us to become humble, more flexible, and yield to others like the virtues of water and not rigid and stiff, showing our stubbornness and ignorance. Rules and proprieties are to help us improve and grow, which will mold us into a standard role model. G, when we are kowtowing, being sincere and use our own spiritual light to enlighten ourselves. Stretch our muscles, relax our head and neck, move our hands and head together. Let our legs support the weight of our whole body. We are kneeling down and making kowtows with our head, not just moving our hands only. For the action of kowtowing, there are proper starting and ending gestures. The movements and gestures of starting and ending are consistent. This is the spirit of Yi Guan Dao. When we kowtow, be sincere, because the purpose of kowtow is to nourish a heart of respect, humility, and modesty. Meanwhile, keeping a correct posture helps relax our muscles and improve the blood circulation for better health. Holy Teacher says, when we kowtow, hold an image of Buddha in our mind and imagine ourselves as the Buddha, then the kowtow rites will be more meaningful. Kowtow also is a form of discipline for us, self-discipline for us to practice to remain humble, virtuous, and kind to others, a way for us to be flexible and to bend and yield for others, to remind us every day to self-reflect and follow our Buddha nature at all times. Gratitude, to express our gratitude to heaven for all the good things in our life. We appreciate everything good that have already come into our lives. Not to kowtow and ask the Buddhas for blessings of health, prosperity, or protection in exchange for promises we will be good. If we are a true cultivator of Tao and we follow our Buddha nature in all that we do, these blessings will come to us naturally. We don't need to ask. Reflection. When we kowtow, it is a time for us to deeply self-reflect on what we have done wrong in the day. Reflect like Zhenzi. This way we can recognize our faults in the day and not to repeat the same mistake again, but to improve ourselves for the better. As we pay respect to each Buddha in our rituals, we also hold an image in our mind of each of the Buddhas that we are kowtowing to and what each of them represent. Example, Maitreya Buddha or Happy Buddha he is very well known for his magnanimous tolerance. So when we kowtow to Maitreya Buddha, we think of his magnanimous tolerance and we should emulate him. And another example is Guanyin Bodhisattva, who is very well known for her compassion and mercy. So when we kowtow to Guanyin Bodhisattva, we self-reflect on ourselves to see if we have been compassionate and merciful to all sentient beings. We have to emulate each good qualities of these Buddhas. Awareness. to remind ourselves that when we kowtow, we have to focus on the practice of the rituals and center our mind only on what we are doing now and not let our mind wander in all different places. Only direct our attention to the rituals. And when we are fully focused on the rituals, we can bring ourselves into one with Tao. Humility. As we all know, being humble is an important characteristic of Tao. When we are actually put in a difficult position, are we capable of lowering ourselves and letting go of the ego? This is where we will be tested. To be put in that particular difficult situation, we must let go of our ego and give into others to show our humility. For example, okay, if we are driving for a while, looking and circulating in the area, trying to find a parking space, finally we spotted one, and halfway backing up into that parking spot, two men in a huge truck pulled up alongside of us and said, "I was eyeing at that spot." Clearly, we found the spot first, or we would not be halfway into it, right? However, that person that wanted the spot wouldn't just let go and drive away. Are we going to get into an argument with them? What would you do in this situation? What if that guy has a gun on him, as so many people now have? We know he is unreasonable. I was in this exact situation last week with my son driving. I told him to let go and give him the spot, especially when we have two toddlers in the back seat. He first hesitated, but he did drive away and let go. I was so worried that he wouldn't. If we think about this, who would lose more? We would. We have two toddlers in the car, and if we take the spot, he can damage our car when we leave. So in today's world, we never know what the other person would do for a parking spot. People are crazy nowadays. After we drove away, right around the next block, we found another spot. And this time, no one fought us for it. Sometimes when we can let go, good things do come our way. Everyone is on edge today, and it's scary. People kill and shoot innocent people without any reason whatsoever. Just like a few weeks ago, this woman got shot and killed because she pulled into someone's driveway so she can make a U-turn. Then the situation of this little girl playing ball outside, the ball rolled into the neighbor's yard. And when she went to pick up the ball, the girl and the father got shot. And then there's a teenager who went to pick up his twin siblings from the babysitter after school, and he went to the wrong house. He rang the doorbell, and the man shot him immediately without even listening to what he wants. People are crazy. Everyone is on edge. So it is always better to walk away than risk being killed. If we can do that, then we can let go of our arrogance, our stubbornness, and show that we can be humble. I was asked by many different members of the temple, why do we have to bow so much? These are Buddhas that sacrifice themselves for us, for all the sentient beings. Without these Buddhas, we would not have the Tao so accessible to us today. By kowtowing and practicing the rituals, we are showing our sincerity, respect, gratefulness to the Buddhas, and in reality, we are actually bowing to our own Buddha nature. Also, it is constantly reminding us to follow the path of these Buddhas and emulate them so we can also return to heaven as they all did. Conclusion. To be a Tao cultivator, we should stop committing all sins and perform only good deeds. To have a righteous mind, this is the most basic good deed to conduct ourselves in life. With a righteous mind, our sincere character will form naturally to be just like the Buddhas with virtues and wisdoms. Once we form our virtuous character through our actions and kind words with virtues and compassion to all, we can guide and help others to cultivate themselves. The good deed of giving merits to help others by giving financial support. That's the good deed of donation. It doesn't mean we have to give everything we have, just when we have a little extra. When we give, we are showing our compassion for others that are less fortunate than us. We will help them to have more food on the table and a roof over their head. Holy Teacher says, a person is truly wealthy when his life is full of virtue. The true high position for a person is when one does good deeds and happily makes donations. These not only benefit others, but also advantageous to oneself. The more we do for others, the more we will own, and the more we give to others, the more we will have. From now on, we should cultivate our mind and keep our soul tranquil. Thus, we should try to do the following: tolerate the bitterness and hardship of work, endure insults and complaints, hold back anger and be patient, bear adversity from others, and accept annoyances and slander aimed at oneself. The best way to repay God's grace is to benefit the world and to guide and help others to cultivate themselves. The best way to repay teachers' mercy is to nourish the next generation of cultivators. Some of us may be thinking, this also sounds very difficult. We have to change so much and give so much of ourselves. It's actually not that difficult at all. We just use our Buddha nature to guide us in everything we do and everything we say on a daily basis, and follow Holy Teacher's teachings. It will be much easier than it sounds. Everything will fall into place. If we all do what we are supposed to do, good blessings will naturally come our way without even asking for it. Our life will be in peace and in harmony. Isn't that what we all want? So this concludes today's class on the 4 subjects of Tao cultivation. If I have said anything wrong or I did not cover this topic well enough, I ask God and all the saints and Buddhas for their forgiveness, and I ask for corrections from transmitters and lecturers. Thank you, everyone.